Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Presidential Town Hall. My name is Michael Wright, and I'm the VP for Communications and the Chief of Staff, and I'll MC today. Fall semester is getting very close, so the purpose of today's meeting is an early welcome to the fall semester, to those who are returning to campus, and to the new warriors who will be joining us for the first time this fall. We'll also provide some updates from various campus leaders on the university's plan for health and safety, and we'll share some highlights about the campus as we get ready for the return. This town hall, like the other town halls, will be recorded, so you can go back and watch it if you miss anything. And I encourage you to visit the website. You can find the recordings on the website at wayne.edu/coronavirus. This website is updated regularly, so when we get new information, we post it immediately, so it's the best place for you to get the most updated information. A couple things to note. One is we have disabled the live chat for today, and we think this will help people focus more on the material that's being presented. Thankfully, we've got plenty of questions to carry us through. We've got nearly 600 people who have RSVP'd and nearly 150 questions. So we'll be addressing some of those today. The answers to these questions, though, and many others can be found on the website. So once again, another encouragement to go to the website to look at the FAQ section, or you can ask a question or you can make a comment on the button on that website. Another thing to note is Provost Kornblue had some travel issues and a plane got delayed, so he will be unable to join us in person. And just one other note, there will be the third town hall, which is strictly based on health, and that will be September 2nd. So that will be emceed by our Chief Health and Wellness Officer and Dean of the College of Nursing, Lori Clabo. And again, that's September 2nd, so you'll be getting information on that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our president, President M. Roy Wilson.
Well, hello, everyone. As was already mentioned, we're getting very close to starting the fall semester. September 1st is the first day of classes on the main campus anyway. The medical school has already started, and the law school, I think it'd be a few days earlier than September 1st, I think on August 30th. You know, obviously we're very excited about that, but we're also approaching it with appropriate caution. I think we've prioritized the safety in terms of all the decisions that we've tried to make. And we've had to make a few decisions recently. As everybody knows, we did decide to mandate vaccine, but important distinction from some other universities is that the vaccine is only mandated for those who will be visiting our campus. That seems like a small difference, but it's actually an important difference, because if you're not going to be visiting our campus because you are going to be totally online or either teaching or taking classes, then obviously you don't have to be vaccinated. And we will try to provide as many options for faculty, staff, and students as possible just for this fall semester. As always, we do have exemptions for legitimate religious and health reasons, and the Public Health Committee is reviewing these requests. Just a reminder that the deadline for vaccination is August 30th. And obviously, I'm sure everybody knows that there was big news yesterday in that the Pfizer vaccine got full FDA approval yesterday. I'm hopeful that those who were waiting for the full FDA approval before getting vaccinated will now move forward to do so. Particularly those in the community. I think the Wayne State faculty, staff, and students are probably, because of the mandate, are getting vaccinated for the most part. But those in the community who we interact with all the time, it's important that they get vaccinated also. So I'm hoping that this full approval of the FDA, from the FDA, of the Pfizer vaccine will incent those people to go and get vaccinated. Obviously, also indoor masking is also something that we instituted because the Delta variant is very infectious, and it takes some time before vaccinations take hold. whereas masking is one of the things that we know for sure can help impact the spread of the virus. We know that as a very effective, immediate deterrent for the virus. We'll take a look in September 15th and see if we can relax that mandate, or whether or not, as some models are predicting, we'll possibly be in the very peak of this latest surge, in which case we may want to keep that mandate in place. But we've got time to assess that. Dean Clabo will provide some more details on these a little later. I do want to emphasize, though, that in addition to the health and safety updates, we're looking forward to sharing updates regarding other aspects of the campus. There's a lot of things that have been done, particularly over the summer. We've had some challenges with flooding. Rob Davenport will talk about those and the improvements that we're making. But we also had some very positive news too. The STEM building is now opened. The Chatsworth renovation is completed. In fact, Jacqueline and I went and took a tour of the Chatsworth last week, and we were very, very impressed. I think students are really going to enjoy living there. It's a really nice facility. Towers Cafe expansion has been completed. The Hillberry project is well underway. I walk in that direction all the time, walking to Avalon or some other coffee shops down in that direction. And I'm just always amazed at the progress that I see on a weekly basis. And it's a much bigger structure than I was anticipating. So I'm really anxious to see when it's completed and when it's in full use. We have new eateries and retail, and Tim Michael will be talking about these. And then, of course, the new arena is going to be open. I think it's November 2nd for our first game. It's a team we should be able to beat, University of Michigan. So actually, it's Friday, November 5th is the first game. But obviously, Michigan's got a great team. But you never know. In basketball, you can get lucky with a string of three-pointers and keep the game close, and you just never know. So come out and see the new arena and witness this historic game. Speaking of games, our first football game is Thursday, September 2nd. And so, come in and cheer our Warriors on. Today's program, we have Lori Clabo, as was already mentioned. You know her certainly as the Dean of the College of Nursing. She continues to chair the Campus Health Committee, which continues to work on a daily basis and has been making a lot of decisions on our behalf to keep us safe. But also, she's assumed a new role, which it's called the Chief Health and Wellness Officer for Wayne State University. We envision this as a very a small 5% role, but neither one of us anticipated the amount of time that she was going to actually have to put into this role with this new surge. So we certainly appreciate that, and I think it really highlights the importance of this role because of all the various decisions that have to be made related to this pandemic. Carolyn Hafner, our AVP for Human Resources, David Strauss, Dean of Students, Rob Davenport, as I mentioned, the Associate VP of Facilities Planning and Management, and Tim Michael, for the Associate Vice President for Student Auxiliary Services. And I'll turn it over to Lori Clabo now. So again, thank you all for joining, and I hope that we are able to answer most of your questions and that this town hall is useful to you. Lori?
Thanks, President Wilson. So we want to start, obviously, by giving you an update on what we know about COVID cases in the nation, the state, and on our campus. As you've all heard, the Delta variant continues to be the dominant variant in the United States. It is the dominant variant of the disease in our state. And our latest analysis of campus testing shows that the Delta variant is the dominant variant on our campus as well. Some reasonably good news to report. While the positivity rate, or the rate of number of cases that are positive per 100 tests done in the state of Michigan, is about 8.5%. In Detroit, where we've seen a pretty steady increase over the last number of weeks, we have had a week of holding pretty steady at between 5.6 and 6%. So there may be some indication that that peak is going to happen a little earlier than we had anticipated, although again, this date is early and we're going to keep our eyes open. Positivity rate on campus last week was 1.24%, and we've been averaging around 3 to 4% each of the last 3 or 4 weeks. And we are really grateful for folks being very careful. Certainly vaccine has made a difference. So want to talk to you again, just a reminder that the vaccine mandate goes into effect next week, August 30th, and that we are going to, as President Wilson said, keep an indoor mask mandate, and we'll require masks for large gatherings outdoors until September 15th. And at that time, we'll reassess where we are, both on campus and in our local community, before we make a decision to relax the masking. Details about the mandate, including how to submit your documentation and how to request an exemption, are listed on our website at wayne.edu/coronavirus. I would just encourage international students who have very complex needs around the vaccine to contact the campus health committee directly at healthcommittee@wayne.edu, and we will work with you to find the vaccine regimen that works best for you. Also, just want to note that the submission process for the mandate is different than the submission process that many of you have used to upload documentation for the incentive program. And it's different in 2 ways. The first is the incentive program required proof of only 1 dose of vaccine. And for the mandate, we're requiring that people have 2 doses of the 2-dose regimes and 1 dose or 1 dose of J&J. The second is that for the mandate, we are actually verifying each of the vaccination cards submitted. The vast majority of cards that are submitted to us are legitimate, but we have seen some false cards. And that process of the submission of false cards slows us down and takes a little time for us to be extra careful to make sure that we are accepting only those cards that are legitimate. So please go to wayne.edu/coronavirus and make sure that you upload your documentation prior to the mandate date, which is next week. Also, a reminder to make sure that you submit the Campus Daily Screener every day before coming to campus. And I'll just highlight for you now that the Campus Daily Screener will change on Tuesday of next week. The question that has been there about have you received a coronavirus vaccine on the Campus Daily Screener will be removed, and the documentation of vaccination will be the successful upload of a verified vaccine card on the website. So anyone who has not uploaded their documentation by next Tuesday, your screener will go red. You will not be permitted on campus, and it will remain red until the vaccine mandate is met. Our campus health committee continues to meet on a weekly basis. We look at metrics related to COVID-19 every day. We're going to continue to host campus town halls to answer your health-related questions. The next one will be on Thursday, September 2nd. Lots of questions already about booster doses and what do those mean. So we're going to dig deep into those health questions next Thursday, September 2nd, 1 o'clock. As you know, and you've heard us all say, vaccines are really the best measure we have to continue to keep COVID-19 at bay. Lots of people have been asking us for some literature that's a little deeper than what we've provided to date. So next week after the town hall, we will be launching a new space on our campus health committee website that will allow folks access to some of the scientific resources for those who want to take a little deeper dive into the science that's undergirded some of the decisions we've made. A reminder that the Campus Health Center is still offering appointments with availability of all 3 COVID-19 vaccines, and there are lots of appointments available, so please be certain to make sure that you schedule your appointment. Also a reminder that, you want to continue, while we think a lot about COVID-19, to look at your regular health needs outside the coronavirus. Make sure that you are continuing to take care of your annual checks on a variety of systems and continuing to monitor your overall health. Flu vaccine will be required on campus again this year, and the deadline to submit flu vaccine will be October 20th, and we will make sure that we give you lots of notice and provide a website for you to upload that documentation. And now, because we know there are lots of questions that relate to human resources, I'll turn the program over to Carolyn Hafner.
Thank you, Dean Clabo. And I hope everybody's trying to stay cool on this very hot summer day and enjoying the last few weeks of summer. I'm very pleased to say that there has really been an increase of activity on campus in the recent weeks as people have begun to really physically have a greater level of presence on campus. And so really want to thank you for making that transition. As more students are beginning to return for the start of classes, and as more on-site operations are gearing up, we're really looking forward to seeing more of you here on campus in the next week or so. So we know that this is another transition that we're all making. And so during this time, we have a lot of resources that are available to you to help support you during this time of change. One is we have a number of resources still available in Accelerate that you can access online. Most of those webinars are brief, 30 minutes or less. So if you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at those, I would encourage you to do so. In the coming months, during September and October, we have another lineup of available resources. Our Department of Organization and Employee Development, in collaboration with CAPS and Uliance, who is our outside vendor who sponsors our EAP, Employee Assistance Program, have all been working together to put together a great list of training options for you in various forms. Much of it is related to hybrid teams and teamwork, and also emotional support. We know that this is another big change, and we've been handling a lot of change over the past 17 or 18 months. So we want to make sure that you have adequate resources to help you in all of those areas. I really want to applaud those departments who have been phasing their teams back in over the summer. And I know that many of you are currently working on finalizing your staffing plans. If you have not already prepared your flexible work arrangement, if you're going to have a hybrid schedule, I would encourage you to do that. We really want to have everyone's plan finalized and in place so that everyone knows where they are, what days they're going to be working on campus, as well as days that they may be working remotely. And I want to remind you that the deadline for that is September 7th. But don't wait till September 7th. We're looking forward to seeing you on campus now. You know, employees have done just an outstanding job, and I can never say that enough, in getting us through the last 17 or 18 months during this pandemic. And we were all working remotely. Students were learning remotely. Faculty were teaching remotely. Everything was remote. But now we're transitioning back to on-campus learning, on-campus operations. And so that requires us to physically be on campus to support our students. And I know I don't need to remind folks that these are our customers. They're the reason that we're here. It's their tuition dollars that help to pay our paychecks. And we need to be here to support them. They're going to be here. We should be here to support them. We should also be here to support our faculty, our researchers, and other staff who need us to be here. So I would encourage everyone to continue to be flexible. It's up to us to make sure that this is the vibrant, collaborative, engaging campus that we've all come to know and love. And that's what makes us unique. That's one of the things that separates us from the rest of the competition out there. And so it's up to us to make this program successful. Now, this pilot program, as we are doing for the flexible work arrangements, is going to run through March 7th of 2022. At that time, we will do a deep dive assessment. We'll be soliciting your feedback on what went well, what may have not gone so well, so that we can make recommendations to the administration on whether to keep this program or not. So the success of flexible work arrangements, that lies in our hands. It's up to us to make this successful. We want to keep it, then we know what we need to do. We don't want to keep it, well, we know what to do with that. But I think we all want it to be successful. So I hope that you will be working with your supervisors, talking to them, and coming up with what is absolutely best for our customers, for the operations of each department, and for us individually. If you need help in any way, we here in Human Resources are absolutely ready to assist you, to facilitate discussions in any way that we can. You can reach out to your HR consultants or directors, and we're happy to help. So that's all that I have. I'll turn it over to Rob Davenport to tell us a little more about facilities.
Thank you, Carolyn. We have a few topics to cover this afternoon, so let's start with the flood recovery. It all began June 26th. 68 of 111 buildings on campus encountered varying levels of flooding. In fact, 11 buildings experienced very significant flooding, while others were more manageable in nature. 8 weeks later, that would be today, we are pleased to report that 95% of the buildings will be reopened for fall classes, while the Arts Complex and McGregor will have a delayed opening. We're happy to report that the work is nearly complete, and we're excited to get back to normal. Also, we've had a number of questions regarding air quality. So let's spend a few minutes on this one for a quick review. When we look at indoor air quality management, there are 5 main aspects to consider: fresh air, air changes per hour, filtering, equipment run times, and air balancing. Every HVAC system is designed for specific applications and environments, and those applications include classrooms, lecture halls, lab and research space, athletics, and of course, administrative and business occupancy spaces. All of these spaces have different requirements. Therefore, fresh air, air changes per hour, filtering, and run times are different for each of these occupancy classes. And to give you a quick example, when you look at a classroom space typically requires about 10% of fresh air at all times. So we're introducing 10% fresh air at all times. 5 air exchanges per hour is the norm. And we also need an appropriate filtering program. Now, while there is no official requirement for filtering, there are industry standards recommended by industry organizations, including ASHRAE. In fact, ASHRAE recommends using MERV 13 filters to remove 90% of contaminants, including dust, pollen, mold, and bacteria, such as COVID-19. Run times are typically driven by occupancy rates. So when there are no occupancies, we typically reduce those run times. We also increase set points in the summer and lower set points in the winter when nobody's in the building. Now, all of the HVAC systems on campus are designed to meet these basic requirements. And the FP&M team has worked tirelessly, particularly over the last 18 months, to make sure our systems are operating as designed. So, what are we doing now? Well, we have increased the amount of fresh air by an additional 15 to 30%, depending on ambient conditions. So keep in mind that the more fresh air we bring in, the more energy is needed to condition the air to a comfortable range. Our air changes per hour naturally increase as we bring in more fresh air to the buildings. Also, reduced occupancy rates increase the effectiveness of additional fresh air. We have been utilizing MERV 13 filters since last year. And in fact, where most HVAC systems have two sets of filters, pre-filters and primary filters, we have opted to use MERV 13s in both filter banks, thereby enhancing filter effectiveness. We've increased run times by removing setback schedules. So during the pandemic, we have been running air handlers 24/7, of course, with some modified set points. Also, over the last 18 months, we have been purging air in the mornings and the evenings in each of the buildings. Air balancing is performed in research spaces where we have labs and hoods. That's pretty typical. It's also performed during significant interior build-outs or construction projects where the footprint and space utilization changes require HVAC adjustments. Do know that we are also rebalancing HVAC systems in buildings that have been affected by the flood. So all of these aforementioned measures have been impacted under the guidance, or rather implemented under the guidance of our Facilities Restart Committee, and specifically the IAQ subcommittee. This team of experts include our in-house FP&M team, as well as one of our professors from the College of Engineering. Additionally, the subcommittee consulted with HVAC contractors, engineering firms, and our industry-based standards experts, namely ASHRAE and ANSI, to put our program together. So we feel very good about the work we have been doing to keep our buildings safe, and we will continue to monitor the equipment to be sure everything is operating as designed. A few quick points on COVID cleaning protocols. Those protocols can be found in our recently updated Facilities Restart Playbook. Look for the playbook on the FP&M site, and you will find a cleaning matrix. And this matrix defines tasks and frequencies for each of the schools, colleges, divisions. On the parking and shuttle update, do know that monthly parking deductions remain suspended until October 1st. Shuttle service is currently under review, and an announcement is forthcoming. Similarly, a public transportation partnership is nearing completion, and an update there is coming very soon as well. Finally, on the parking side, construction over at Parking Instruction Number 1 continues. That's over on Palmer at Cass, and that will be completed in September. All right, finally, a big shout out to the facilities team for their hard work and dedication through the pandemic. We are very grateful for all that you have done, particularly during the last 18 months. And of course, many thanks to all of you for your patience during the flood and of course, planning for our return to campus. So now let's turn it over to David Strauss.
Hey, thanks very much, Rob. And good afternoon, Wayne State Warriors. It is great to see you here virtually in the town hall. I hope that today finds you Warrior safe and Warrior strong. So I'm really excited. Why am I really excited? Because classes start next week. And for undergrad and grad, law, you all start on Monday. Med, you all have already been in classes. But welcome to all of you. You know, I've been talking to students as I've been seeing them around campus, and they're really excited. They're excited to be back in person, back in the classroom, seeing their friends, getting ready to attend campus events, getting ready to join student organizations because they haven't been able to as much, and to be at Festifall next week. So speaking of Festifall is taking place in person next Tuesday, August 31st, beginning at 11 a.m. and running until 2 p.m. It's going to be in Gullen Mall and Keith's Commons. And we already have over 300 information tables reserved. If you're representing a student organization, university department and you haven't yet reserved a table, please send us an email and we'll have a table ready for you. Also new this year is that the new student convocation ceremony is taking place at the Woodward and Warren Park across from the Welcome Center. We're really excited to kick off the academic year right in the heart of Midtown at Woodward and Warren. Now, as Dean Clabo said earlier, because this event is going to be really large, we're expecting 3,000 to 4,000 students and their guests. We are requiring face masks, and we will have plenty available if someone happens to not have one with them at that time. The day before, Monday, August 30th, is the first day of orientation part 2. We have in-person student success sessions. We also have ones virtual. And the Warrior Uproar pep rally for new students is at Tom Adams Field. And then we're concluding with an outdoor movie on the green space that is just next to the new 7-Eleven in the Anthony Wayne Drive apartments. Now, the campus activities team has been hard at work planning their fall calendar, and there are a lot of exciting in-person events. So we really are encouraging everyone to have fun and take part in those activities. They actually begin the week of the 6th, which is the campus activities team Welcome Back week. And as President Wilson mentioned earlier, our Wayne State Warriors hit the field on September 2nd, Thursday night, September 2nd at 6 o'clock. Be there. Now, a couple other updates and then some safety reminders. The libraries no longer are requiring a reservation. You used to have to get a reservation to have a study area. No longer. They are open and they are ready for you to come on in and study. Remember, when you come to campus, remember to complete that daily screener that Dean Clabo talked about. And remember to have your one card with you. Now, we've got these really cool one card lanyards. And if you need one, we can get you one. They're available in the Dean of Students office, 3rd floor Student Center, and also at the W Food Pantry, which is in the 1st floor of the towers between Subway and Dunkin' Donuts. And speaking of the W Food Pantry, we are expanding. We have expanded to now include the Warrior Wardrobe. So the space connected to the pantry is now the Warrior Wardrobe, where students are going to be able to come and get free of charge, just have to show their one card. They're going to be able to get casual and dress clothing as well as household items. So now we'll have food, hygiene products, technology lending, cameras, we have headphones, we have as well as clothing and household items, all free as part of our student basic needs initiatives. And I got to give a shout out to financial aid and career services. Pre-COVID, they got the ball rolling on the Warrior Wardrobe. Also want to let everybody know, we know we're welcoming a lot of new Warriors who have not been here before. Either they're sophomores, but last year was all virtual for them. They might not know their way around. And we also have the new freshmen and the new transfers coming in right now. So if you see somebody walking around campus not really knowing where they are, stop them, ask them, how can you help them? Direct them to the building, show them that warrior pride and that warrior spirit. We're going to keep sending the Get Involved email. It moves to twice weekly during the semester. So check your inbox for the Get Involved email with everything happening on campus. So again, thank you so much. Great to see you here today. Look forward to seeing you in person next week at Orientation Part 2 and at Convocation and Festival. With that, I want to hand it over to Tim Michael, my friend and colleague, our Chief Housing Officer. He's got some big things happening later this week.
Thank you, David, and thanks everyone for joining today. Since about August 1st, there have been hundreds of students already on campus. Our athletic camps are in full swing. Students are returning for training for their jobs. But this week is really the week we wait on each year because this is the start of fall housing move-in. We'll start with our residential learning communities, including the new first-year residential experience, arriving on campus this Thursday, just in 2 days. We look forward to opening the new Chatsworth Suites this week as the new home for fire. Friday this week, our remaining first-year students will arrive, and then all other campus residents will arrive on Saturday and Sunday. Overall, we expect about 2,400 residents to be on campus before classes start, which will include about 800 freshmen and 600 upper class students who will be living on campus for the first time, many who chose as freshmen not to live with us last year because of the pandemic. So we're very excited to have these upper class students join us as well. Those two groups will join about 1,000 continuing and returning campus residents to give us a really dynamic residential population for this year. For those of you who are living on campus this fall, who are listening to this town hall, I'll remind you to check your campus email and be sure to follow all the pre-arrival instructions. You will need to show your one card, your check-in pass, your completed daily campus screener, and your approval email related to your vaccination status in order to pick up your keys. And watch the weather. This time of year, we may always have pop-up storms later this week, so be sure to bring umbrellas and tarps as you need to protect your belongings. Move-in occurs rain or shine. If you have any last-minute questions, please email housing@wayne.edu or live chat us on the housing.wayne.edu website. While many of us have been away from campus during the pandemic, the campus itself has continued to improve and change in anticipation of this fall. I'm happy to announce several new retail options for our campus community, including Sushi Kabar, which will be a new food outlet near Subway on Kirby Mall, Quickly Boba Tea, and Tender's Love Chicken, both in the Student Center. And along Anthony Wayne Drive, new stores are now opening or reopening that will include 7-Eleven, the new Leo's Coney Island, Beyond Juice, Uncle Joe's Chicken, 1,000 Degree Pizza, and the Warriors Pharmacy. I would also suggest that you visit the WSU bookstore, which now features an enlarged cafe and seating area for more room to study and hang out. And as you return to campus, you will find lots of your old favorites, including the Towers Cafe, Golden Greens, Panda Express, Taco Bell, Dunkin', Subway, Starbucks. The pandemic has delayed normal hiring and staffing of some of our on-campus locations, resulting in some of our stores not being open during the first week of school. We will open everything as quickly as we can staff up. So if you are looking for a campus job, please join us. Email dining@wayne.edu or visit the dining website for job opportunities. All of us who work in student services look forward to welcoming you back to campus. I'll now turn this back to Michael Wright for our question and answer period.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody, for the presentations. Great information. I would just add something that we were talking about earlier was Tim mentioned that many students will be on campus who have never been here before, and maybe they've not had the opportunity to take tours and other things. So if you're a veteran or if you're an employee or a member of the faculty and you see people wandering around who look like they might be lost, help them out. It's a good way to show some warrior hospitality. And Tim, I would just add that I'm still a big fan of Beyond Juice, and we probably shouldn't be picking favorites, but that's my go-to place. It's great. Now we will do questions and answers. As I mentioned before, we've had a lot of questions. Many of them fall within the health area. So if I could have both President Wilson and Dean Clabo up for these couple, because they sort of blend between the two of you and you might have different points of view. But first, why are vaccinated individuals being encouraged to mask up again? Lori, would you like to start with that?
Sure. So two things. Michigan is now considered an area of substantial transmission, and the CDC recommends that extra layer of protection in areas where transmission is high. And certainly at this point on our campus, until we have documentation of just exactly which percentage of our campus community is vaccinated, again, we believe the mask provides an extra layer of protection, and we are using them, as we said, in all areas indoors and as well in large gatherings outdoors.
Just a little bit more on masks. The efficacy of masks has been challenged in some of the questions, and people have heard that the virus gets through the masks with no problem. Would either of you like to comment on that? Maybe President Wilson, you heard you speak about this earlier today. Did you have a point of view?
Yeah, I mean, masking is one of the things that has been consistently shown over and over again to be very, very effective. Now, you've got to wear the mask correctly. You've got to have good masks. You can't have the mask down underneath your nose or something, expect it to be, as effective. But a properly worn good mask has been shown over and over again to be extremely effective. And particularly when you're not sure of the vaccination status of people, is certainly recommended to decrease transmission, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated.
Next question is about booster shots. When should I consider getting a booster shot, and when will they be required by Wayne State and offered by Wayne State? Lori, why don't you start that one?
So we know that the CDC made this recommendation last week, and we are waiting for full FDA guidance on exactly how booster shots will roll out. The recommendation currently is 8 months after the second dose of a 2-dose regime. Not clear recommendations yet following the J&J vaccine, whether or not there should be a booster after that. We are waiting for further guidance from the FDA, and we've heard today that we can expect that early next week. Certainly, until we have that, we are not ready to make a decision about whether they'll be required on campus. And if we are given clearance by the FDA, they will be available on campus after September 20th, which is the date they will start, at 8 months post full second dose of vaccine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Michael, let me just add that, just because the booster shots will be available, one shouldn't interpret that as a sign that the original vaccination is not effective. Certainly the vaccinations that we have, particularly the mRNA ones, were extraordinarily effective, more so than traditional vaccinations. And the fact that there may be some waning of effectiveness at a certain time point, whether even if that's factual, is still extremely effective. The original hope was that these vaccines will be 75% effective, and it was like 95% effective. And so even if you lose a little bit of effectiveness, it's still very highly effective. And so people shouldn't be running out thinking that they've got to get a booster shot right away, or they're not protected. There's time to do this in an orderly way and prioritize those who need it first. And as the dean said, those who got the vaccine first are going to be should be prioritized over those who got the vaccine later on.
That runs right along a question that you've mostly answered, but they asked, when should I consider getting a booster shot? Or not that one. I was vaccinated early on. How safe am I from COVID-19, especially the Delta variant?
Yeah, it's still very, very safe. I mean, and the 98% of really severe cases, those that require hospitalization or causing deaths are in unvaccinated. So even if people get the infection after being vaccinated, for the most part, they tend to be much milder. And again, it's the exception rather than the rule. You do have breakthrough infections, but they're not that common. So you're still very, very protected.
One more for you, President Wilson, then I can let you step off for a little bit. Do you foresee Wayne State having to scale back operations or return to an all-remote environment with the current surge?
Well, we have always prioritized safety in all of our decision making, and we'll continue to do that. I think whether or not we would have to revert back to totally online, I think is going to be dependent on the penetrance of the vaccination, and how many people, not just on campus but in the community, get vaccinated. The more people get vaccinated, again, in the community, I mean, our students and faculty interact with people in the community all the time. The more people generally get vaccinated, the greater the chance are that we're going to be able to look at this in the rear view mirror. If we still have significant proportion of our population unvaccinated out in the community, there's likely to be some level of spread. We'll be protected to a certain extent because we'll be vaccinated, hopefully with the vaccine mandate. So if I had to guess, I would say that we probably won't have to go back to totally online just because of the vaccine, and hopefully with the announcement of the full FDA approval, more people will go and get vaccinated. But it's all dependent on the vaccination rate and how many people actually get vaccinated.
Thank you. May I have Dean Clabo up again, Shannon? Thanks. I didn't know you were going to drop out of there, but we're going to stay on this because there's still a few questions, and some of them are nuanced. With the increase in COVID cases and test positivity rates, are we still safe to convene in classrooms and or meetings?
Really great questions. And one thing that sort of builds off what President Wilson was talking about is some folks may have not heard, some folks who are new, and others may have forgotten that last year we established a series of metrics to guide our actions on campus. And they revolve around the number of cases on campus, in the community, our positivity rates locally. And we have said as a university, we would act without emotion. When we hit one of those triggers, we would move to become more restrictive. And we will continue to be guided by those metrics, which served us incredibly well last year. We expect they will do the same this year. So I would say, I'm in my office today. I feel very safe here on campus. I'm going to meet with some doctoral students in a few minutes, and we will continue to be guided by the science. We'll follow what the data tells us.
Thanks. You mentioned this in your presentation, but there was some confusion about whether or not, if you submitted your vaccine card for the incentive program, do you need to do it also for the mandate? Could you just clarify that one more time for folks?
Yeah, and I will. So yes, you go to wayne.edu/coronavirus, click on the vaccine mandate button, and there are directions about how to submit for the mandate. It's really simple. Take a picture of your card, take a picture of both sides of your card, and upload it at that site, and you're all good to go. And again, that upload will guide how your Campus Daily Screener acts after Tuesday.
Thanks. And it's easy. I did it, and it took about a minute, which for me is significant, is great. This next question, we may need David and Carolyn, but you judge. But what are the consequences for faculty, staff, and students if they're not vaccinated by August 30th? And do you need to receive both doses by that date?
Yeah, good, really good question. Again, and the mandate requires 2 doses of a 2-dose regime or 1 dose of J&J. But there are a number of people on campus who have had a first dose who some folks chose yesterday to get their first dose after Pfizer got full approval. And what people need to do is submit the proof of that first dose. Once it's verified, we will work to grant extensions for folks to be able to have the mandate date pushed out a little bit for them until such time as their second dose. We are not requiring that people be quote unquote fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your second dose. Just get 2 doses by the 30th. And if you can't, reach out to us at healthcommittee.wayne.edu. We'll extend the deadline for you. I would also say that for those folks who have submitted a request for a waiver based on religious or health reasons, that process takes some time. The committee members carefully and thoroughly review every one of those waivers before making a decision and come to consensus before making a decision. If your waiver is not approved or has not been decided by the 30th, we will work with you to extend the deadline. And for those who get an approved waiver, 2 requirements: regardless of the mask mandate, you'll be required to wear a mask indoors for the rest of this semester and to be tested for COVID-19 weekly at the campus health center.
Anything else on consequences that you want to share?
So from the health perspective, the consequence is you're not allowed to be physically present on campus. I think David and Carolyn are probably better to address questions that are directly related to impact for students and faculty and staff.
Okay, let's give you a break and bring David and Carolyn out. Thanks. David, from a student perspective, could you add any to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So actually, Carolyn, I'm going to bounce over to you because they're making an announcement in the student center. And they'll come back to me.
No problem. Thanks, Michael. So in terms of consequences, obviously, we will work within the confines of our collective bargaining agreements. So whatever that progressive discipline is, we will follow that. And for non-represented staff, we will also follow what's outlined in the manual for non-represented personnel. But, again, we urge everyone to follow what Dean Clabo has just outlined, to either upload their documentation to get vaccinated or submit their declination waiver. And we will try to work with people and be as flexible as possible because this is for our health and safety.
Yep, thank you. David, is your announcement over?
Yep, and it was a shout out. I give a shout out to the student center. They make announcements reminding people to mask up. As it relates to students, so it is a violation of the Student Code of Conduct, Section 4.20, related to COVID noncompliance. On the Dean of Students Office homepage, there's a big button that says report noncompliance. So please, if a student is not complying, not wearing a face mask, please submit that form. We will follow up with the student. We will follow up with you. And then we will take next steps. Next steps could potentially be charges filed against them in the Student Code of Conduct. Also, remind them to say, hey, can you do me a favor? Please put your mask on. You first want to ask them that. But if they're not complying, let us know right away. We will follow up. And if we need to, we will remove them immediately from the campus if they are being that disruptive and that unsafe.
Thanks, David. I think President Wilson also wanted to comment on this. I think it was on this.
Yeah, well, no, it was on the previous point that Dean Clavel was talking about, that you asked about in terms of the waivers. I don't want people to get the impression that it's just easy to just go and ask for a waiver and everything is nice and peachy. There are consequences of the waivers too, which is that those who get granted waivers are going to have to test routinely, and there are some populations of in our community that have frequent interactions with others, and they're going to have to test very frequently, like every day, to be on campus. So I don't want people to think that they're just going to, just ask for a waiver and then everything is fine, that they're able to be on campus without any testing or anything else. There will be some pretty onerous, perhaps, for some people who have frequent contact with others in terms of the testing regimen, and the details of that are being worked out. But there are a couple of different populations of people, depending on their work environment, that have been told that they're going to have to be tested every day.
Okay, David Strauss, I'm going to keep you up, and other folks will. Carolyn, I'll be bringing you back up shortly. David, what steps should a student take in the event they test positive for COVID-19 or must quarantine to not get behind in their studies?
Great question. Thanks. contact your faculty right away. Now, it's important from day one for you to establish a relationship with your instructors and with your academic advisor. They're your key to your student success. But when you're not feeling well, you let your instructors know. Send them an email, send them a message in Canvas. If you are not able to do so, if you're incapacitated, please have a member of your family, a friend, email the Dean of Students office, call the Dean of Students office, and we will be in touch with your faculty.
Thank you, David, very much. Carolyn, would you come back up, please? Carolyn Hefner. Carolyn, what options or resources are available for employees with younger children if their child contacts COVID-19 or is required to quarantine due to exposure?
Okay, so a couple of options. First and foremost, they could either obtain, if they don't have one, a flexible work arrangement or modify the flexible work arrangement. It's not etched in stone. It can be changed by either the employee or the supervisor as conditions change. So we've got to be agile. And secondly, employees can always apply for FMLA time to care for a child and use their vacation time to be paid for that time.
Okay, thank you very much. Carolyn, is a hiring freeze or another year without raises for staff and other benefit reductions in our future due to budgetary constraints?
Yeah, great question. I know it's on the hearts and minds of a lot of people. So we are in the process now, hopefully in the final stages of developing the fiscal year 22 budget. Budget office is working real hard on that. And so we have not yet made a determination as to whether a hiring freeze is going to be required. So I would say stay tuned on that. In terms of raises, we are in negotiations with about 5 or 6 different unions right now. And so that's all up in the air until those contracts are finalized and executed. So I would say represented faculty and staff, stay tuned on that. And again, you know, we recognize that our non-represented staff have made a lot of sacrifices in terms of pay cuts and furloughs, and we appreciate that more than I can say. And again, it's important that we try to figure that piece of it out. It's all being a part of the final details of what the budget office is working out. The budget is subject to approval by the board, which I believe is scheduled for October 1st. And so I will say, stay tuned. More information on that will be coming out.
Thank you, Carolyn. May I have David Strauss back up, please? David, how can a student taking online courses still get involved with the campus activities?
Yeah, great question. So keep a close eye on the twice weekly Get Involved email. So that goes out on Wednesdays and Sundays. We will be offering virtual events, activities, programs, workshops, many departments. So that is your way to find out what's going on. It'll be in your email. So make sure you're checking your Wayne State email, and virtual events will be there.
Okay, thank you very much, David. We have reached the last couple of minutes, so I would just add my thanks to everybody for joining us today. I hope this has been helpful. And as always, you can, I encourage you to go to wayne.edu/coronavirus, and we're updating it. We're answering the many questions that have come in. Those that are new, we're still working on getting answers up. So you'll be able to follow that and stay current with your information. And with that, I will just bring up President Wilson if he wants any last remarks.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, we know that more people have gotten vaccinated than we've gotten upload their documentation of vaccination. So we urge everyone to please upload your documents. Don't wait till the last minute. Go ahead and just do it now so that we have a good, accurate count of who's vaccinated and can do better planning. So that's number one. Secondly, I do hope that this was helpful. I know that some of the questions were science and health oriented, and I just want to emphasize, as was already mentioned a few times this afternoon, that We do have other town halls that are focused specifically on science and health questions. I think the next one is September 2nd, if I recall right. And so please tune in to that, and we'll be answering more questions that are more focused specifically on the science. So please keep that in mind also. And then, lastly, I'll just thank you all for joining, and wish you all well, and be safe and be warrior strong.
That's a great close. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.